Joel Sherman, trade deadline fast approaching. I'm not ready. I just feel like this year more than any, we're not certain who's doing what. Good morning to you, but we are. You dissect the season into thirds, and we're in that third of the season where we're defining buyers or sellers. What jumps out post-Memorial Day? Good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. Yeah, I do think of it as thirds. When you get through Memorial Day, it's kind of the appetizer's done, and we're in kind of a media part of the season where, we already know. Colorado, Miami, Pittsburgh, Oakland, they're sellers. Like what they have, they'll sell. Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Mets, Tigers, they're buyers. But we've got this third of a season now, get past the draft in mid-July. What are you doing? And I kind of picked out 4 teams that I find fascinating. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'm going to start with the Astros because I'm kind of sure what they're going to do, which is they're over 500. They're in the race. The AL isn't going to get away from them. And their owner, Jim Crane, has always been definitive that he doesn't believe in rebuilding. And the team has made the playoffs 8 straight years. I think they'll go for it again. But I'm fascinated because if you look at it from 10,000 feet, Lauren, they have 6 starting pitchers on the injured list. 4 of them probably might not come back this year. And what's there, Hunter Brown's real good, Framber Valdez real good, but they don't have depth there. They don't have lefty hitting, and their one good lefty hitter, Yordan Alvarez, is got a fractured finger. He might be out for a while longer. They don't have a deep farm system, and the core of this great run here has either gone or aged out. I wonder what they'll look like a third of the season from now. In 6 or 7 weeks, will they have to think about something else? And if they did, what can they do? Well, Framber Valdez is a walk-year player. Like they traded Kyle Tucker before his walk year. Could they get out of that? Josh Hader, to me, would be the Andrew Miller of this trade deadline if they wanted to say, like, we do this. He has 3 at 57 left after this year. He changed the fate of 2, 3, 4, whoever you think of teams that would need it. And I just want to highlight Isaac Paredes because they got him for Tucker, but Cam Smith could go to third base, and every executive I talk to says, I cannot find the righty hitter in the market. Do you know right-hand hitters as a group, 697 OPS, it's the lowest since 1989 for the whole group of right-hand hitters in the major leagues. Wow. If you have one with some control, you could really get a lot for it.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that was the consensus of so many executives. You said, Joel, you're pretty sure on Houston, Milwaukee next on your list. If you're 5 games over 500, 5 games back in a division maybe as uncertain as the NL Central, which direction do they go?
Yeah, they've won 8 in a row. They're clearly in it. But the National League, Lauren, as opposed to the American League, is going to have real quality at the top. And I just wonder if the Brewers reach a point during these 8 weeks where maybe they keep winning and they say, let's go full bore for it. Or do they look and say, the Cubs are better than us, and I don't know that we can even be the third wild card. And I would keep 3 things in mind about the Milwaukee Brewers. Number 1, they traded Josh Hader at the trade deadline a couple of years ago. It was under David Stearns, but they traded him while they were contenders. Number 2, they traded Corbin Burnes into his walk year last year and still made the playoffs. So they know they could trade an ace and survive it. And number 3, there's probably not been a time in their recent history where they've had this much starting pitching depth. And Freddie Peralta really stands out for being able to get a lot in this market because he becomes a playoff pitcher for any team. And his option for next year, it's a club option for $8 million. So he would fit into any team from the biggest market to the smallest for his value next year. They could get a ton for him, and they're always a team, as we saw with Hader, as we saw when they were trading Burnes, that is thinking about how do we stay good through all the tomorrows, not just today.
I'm looking at the division right now, wondering, because you said the Cubs are better, how much better do you feel, if at all, the Cardinals are? They're 1 game ahead of them in the standings. Is it a similar situation with them? We'll see. So you coupled for the last one, the 2023 World Series teams, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. Is Arizona dependent on the final verdict for Corbin Burnes, or regardless, Joel?
Yeah, I think it's part of this, Lauren. Those 2 teams play in the World Series in 23. I think they thought they were better last year, and both teams missed the playoffs. I think they thought they were better this year. Both teams are under 500. The Diamondbacks are in 4th place, and their ace in Burnes just went down who knows for how long. And so you look at this. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are both in their walk year. They're guys they could give the qualifying offer to at the end of the year. Gallen is not having a good year, but his pedigree is such that he's a month away. A good month would make him, again, a very desirable person in this market. Merrill Kelly, it's only always about health. This is a very effective number 3-ish type starter who you could start in a playoff game. And I think they could, again, if they decide in a tough National League West in general and tough National League in specific that they can't make it over the next 6-7 weeks, do they do this? As far as the Rangers, they've tried some shakeup. They brought in Brett Boone to be the hitting coach. They've hit .218 since they brought him in 25 games. That hasn't changed at all. It's the worst number in the American League. They were just shut out for the 7th and 8th time in the last few days. That's the most in the major leagues. And the one guy I find fascinating, and I just find him totally fascinating, is Jacob deGrom. He's got 2 years at $75 million left after this season. He's still throwing harder than most humans who do this, but he's not throwing as hard as his peak. And he just had a start 2 starts ago for the first time in his career where he did not strike out a batter. He only struck out 4 and 6 innings in his last start. But you know what's really, really hard to do, no matter what speed this guy's throwing at? Score runs against Jacob deGrom. He has a .234 ERA. The last 11 starts have been brilliant in particular. If he's upright and healthy, he's a game 1 starter for anyone. But he's risky. A lot of injury history. The $75 million. Do the Rangers want to do it? And by the way, he has a full no-trade clause, and I covered him. He likes comfort and routine, and I'm not sure he would even if Texas made this decision, I'm not sure there's a lot of places he would go if he would go any place at all.